Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Expend4bles. So as always, I'm going to be the good, the bad, and the furry. Nothing furry to report, so moving on to the good and the bad. I have my spoiler-free review linked in the description down below, but this is my spoiler review, so spoiler alert. Basically, I just wanted to talk about some of the other things that pissed me off about this movie. I've already talked kind of at length about the opening sequence, but like, why did those guys get out of the tank to begin with? Why did they kill the general's wife before even bringing her into the room? And why would you just shoot the son before even finding out for sure if that actually was the whatever combo? Like, you have no leverage at that point. All of that is dumb. And then the fact that, like, the tank somehow didn't take anybody out. And then that they also, clearly the tank must have still been functional, right? I mean, those guys got out of it, so the thing wasn't entirely blown up. Why didn't they use the tank on the Expendables when they came in? Why, again, didn't they use a drone? But also, you have, like, the detonators. Like, how do you just recognize, like, oh, that case is the detonators? Because none of that was covered in the opening briefing. And sometimes I can get over, like, oh, we're just going to skip the briefing thing. But they made a point about it later on in the movie. That, like, hey, we're going to go over here and do this, and then two teams are going to do this, and the team's going to do that. And then everybody's just kind of looking at her, like, holding in laughter, and she's like, he would have just said, let's go do it, right? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, okay, let's go do it. Like, okay, so clearly there isn't any planning, but somehow you recognize the detonator's case. And also, how do you need, like, 50 million detonators to blow up a nuke? I don't understand nuke blow-up science, but it just seems like most other movies, there's just, like, the one nuke and then the one detonator. I don't know. It just seemed excessive to have all those detonators. And, you know, was anybody at all for even 1 millisecond fooled into thinking that, like, oh no, that actually is Barney's dead. Like, Barney's actually dead. Because anybody who's been around since, oh, I don't know, the 80s and 90s, from when these action stars were there, has seen enough fucking movies to know that if you don't actually see the actor who's playing the person actually do the impact, like, right up until the moment of death, and if they aren't recognizable in some way, like, you know that they're gonna fucking come back if they need to. So was anybody at all, well, like, oh man, that definitely is Barney there? Also, am I crazy? And I'm not gonna go back and rewatch them, but was the ring in this one different? I feel like he's made a big thing about his ring, I think, every movie, but I feel like it's a different ring in this movie. Were they just like, oh, a skull's not recognizable enough, so add some little green jewels or something? Whatever. Also, why was Jason Statham wearing the ring when he was trying to steal the boat from Tony Jaa? Like, why are you wearing it? That's not your thing. It's probably going to throw off your throwing aim and whatnot. You would not be wearing the ring, but whatever. Convenience got a convenience. And then, again, was anybody fooled for a second when he, like, handed her this knife with a shitty case? Like, that knife, that case was so shitty. Or sheath, whatever, if you want to get all technical. But the sheath was shitty, and then, like, was anybody fooled to be like, oh, it's just a knife? Like, no, of course there's a fucking tracking device in it. Was anybody also surprised that Megan Fox at the end was like, yeah, I knew there was a fucking tracking device in it? So why go through all this bullshit? Both of you know, and all the audience knows, so it's so contrived. It's shitty writing is what it is. And I don't know. I'm still pissed that they didn't include Terry Crews in this. 50 Cent was fine. I thought it was funny that they played Candy Shop from the forklift. But again, why would all the bad guys expend all their ammunition to go around there? Like, gosh, I wonder if that's a distraction. Henchman got a hench, I guess. And also, random group of dirt bikes with, I don't know, 50 cal, 25 cal, whatever cal, just guns on the front, like, just random assortment of them, and like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take that, and that's gonna magically take out everyone. Never have to reload, never have a jam, and oh, by the way, all the people that get on them to chase me down these very straight hallways, which is definitely faster to take my motorbike and then make these awkward turns all over the place. Definitely faster, yeah, none of those guys managed to hit our hero, but our hero just takes out everyone at all points. And I was getting real annoyed at the timer ticking down on this nuclear bomb, and all of the bad guys still going after the good guys. Why are henchmen suicidal like that? Like, there's a timer going off. You have to get a certain amount away, and you just aren't. Like, why? And so they finally pointed it out when like one henchman was like, but sir, we have to get away from the missile. So he shoots him in the head. That dude is surrounded by guys with guns. If any of them were actually like wanting to survive, they would have been like, man, fuck this guy, and just shoot that leader, get on the boat, and GTFO. You saw that when they were in the helicopter and the nuke was under the water, how very close that explosion got to them. Yeah, they were only a minute, but like, your boat's not going to be that fast. So y'all needed to get the fuck out like way, way long ago. And also, their whole thing of like, oh yeah, we're just going to put some paper mache aircraft on this tanker, and it's definitely going to fool the Russians, who I guess from the zoom out are looking through clouds at this tanker. Like, really? Do you not know that like Google Maps is a thing? Like Google Earth, Google Maps, whatever you want to call it, like, it's a thing. Commercially available shit is like, why do you think the Russians don't have like Google Maps level of shit to be like, gosh, that tanker must not be a fucking aircraft carrier? And I don't know. It just seems like that, you know, if a nuclear bomb were to go off, I feel like the world might pay attention a bit and might do a lot of investigatory work to figure out, where did that come from? What was the origin of that ship? Has it always been an aircraft carrier, or did it maybe come from some fucking port in Botswana that used to be where they held some fucking oil tanker shit? Like, it's such a dumb premise. And then also, our Expendables guy look up, and they're like, oh hey, there's the bad guy up there. Let's all run up there to go take him out. But then when our Expendables are up there and the bad guys are down there, they just lay fire into them, and everybody's like, don't down, get down, oh my gosh. Like, why didn't y'all do that? You know? And then they really built up, you know, the guy from the raid, and then, and I think that was kind of a little bit of the problem with this movie, is that the climax was this fight on the tanker ship, but it never really built. It was just like, they landed, those guys fucked up, and then the whole time, it was Jason Statham just taking everybody out, freezes guys, do a little thing, but like, it never really felt like the tension or anything else like climbed. So I was just like, oh, is this where he's gonna fight? Oh no, he's gonna escape. And then it got to the point where, when they did the shot to look at the toothpicks all over the floor, I thought they were showing that raid guy had just GTFO'd while they were looking away, and that he was going to come back to fight another day or do another thing, or have some other, like, oh, he's going to have a crane and just take out the top thing. I don't know, something. And it wasn't until they, like, cut back to him again that he's still, like, chilling with a giant axe in his chest, which I get that, you know, would impede your movement. But I was like, oh, they're showing toothpicks because of CIA guy. Right. But, again, so Jason Statham just randomly finds RPG. Fine, I'm fine with that. There's a bunch of firearms lying around, whatever. But he takes out the helicopter that they arrived in, and so that guy's solution is like, hey, we're still gonna try and kill you as opposed to getting the boat and getting as fast, as far away from this as possible. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And they do this whole thing of like, oh, this guy is gonna reveal your identity, so he shoots him in the head. So this guy clearly wants to continue life, but all of his actions after his aircraft are blown up is just suicidal by nature. Like, there's no world where the actions you're doing are going to lead towards you being alive. Even if you don't think the Expendables are great, nuclear bomb is a thing. I don't, like, chuck it in the ocean. That's so dumb. It's so dumb. And so much about this movie is dumb. I just did not enjoy it for a lot of it. But there were a couple fight sequences that are cool. Tony Jaa was fun. I like Randy Couture getting some fight in. Whiplash was kind of fun to see how she got her name, even if it was a little ridiculous. And then just Jason Statham taking out all the people was still good for me. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of problems with this movie. I'm sure there's a bunch that I missed out on. Like, I'm sorry, but the betting scene where he's like, oh, I bet my lucky ring. So is the point that, like, Jason Statham was having a bad time, so, you know, so Sylvester Stallone was like, I'm going to come up with a contrived reason to have him beat the shit out of people so he can feel better because he's gotten some of his energy out. I'd be fine with that, but you need to do a better job of establishing the fact that Sylvester Stallone isn't going back on a bet. Like, I don't know, it just seems to me like, hey, you lost it in a bet, you lost it in a bet. Sucks that you were drunk, but like that. I'm sure the other people you were playing against are probably drunk because you're in a bar and that was your choice. So I don't know. Him being like, I want my lucky ring back is fine, but you need to offer some type of reasonable or even higher than reasonable offer. And we never really saw that. We got like the one line of him being like, oh, I asked him to like, I tried to pay him back, but he wouldn't budge. Like, go higher. If it's that important to you, go higher. Offer him a higher than you think is reasonable amount to acquire back your ring for whatever bet you swapped it for. And then if he's still being unreasonable, I might be more understanding, especially if after the ass kicking, you still give him that amount of money. But that never happened. And in fact, Jason Statham was the one that initiated the fight, which not cool, bro. Your friend lost his bet. Sucks to suck, but you don't get to start a fight over that. It's just my thoughts on the matter. So that was not a great look, in my opinion. Yeah. So just whatever. I'm done with this movie. Probably never going to see it again. I don't think they'll make Expendables 5. I'm hoping they don't. Anyhow, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.